In this video, we shall look at a few review problems associated with Newton's law of gravitation. First, a brief introduction. Let's assume you have two masses, like that. Let's call the mass on the left m1, the mass on the right m2. So their masses are m1 kg and m2 kg respectively. Now they are separated in space by a distance, let's call it r. Newton's law of gravitation says there is an attractive force acting between these two masses, and this force is given in magnitude by the following equation. Capital G times the product of the two masses m1, m2 divided by the square of the separation distance. Now the constant G is called the universal gravitational constant with a value of 6.67 times 10 to the power minus 11, and the unit of this constant is newtons meters squared over kg squared. So since F is attractive in nature, it is the force exerted on m1 by m2 in that direction. Likewise, it is also the force exerted on m2 by m1 in that direction. So we say these two masses attract each other with this much force. Now let's get to the problems. Problem 1. A star is rotating about this axis at about 1.5 rev per second. If the radius of the star is 23 kilometers, so that is the radius of that star, find the minimum mass of the star so that material on its surface remains in place during the rotation. So let's assume the mass is right there. So what must the minimum mass of the star be so that as it rotates, this mass remains on the surface of the star? Now note that as the star rotates, this mass will also move in a circular trajectory about that center. That means it would feel a certain amount of centripetal force, and that centripetal force will go towards the center of that star like that. The magnitude of that centripetal force is given by the mass of that tiny material times its tangential speed squared over the radius of that star. However, the tangential speed of that material, it can be related to the angular speed of that star's rotation, and that is just the radius of the star times the angular speed of the star. So let's put everything together. It's given by the mass of that material, r squared, omega squared over capital R, so one of the two r's will cancel from the top, leaving you with a centripetal force of mass of that material, radius of the star, omega squared, where omega is the angular speed of that star as it rotates. We know that centripetal force is a kind of net force, so it must be provided by some other force, and that some other force is gravitational force on that material that is coming from the star. So the gravitational attraction between the star and the tiny material is given by Newton's law of gravitation. So namely, the universal gravitational constant times the product of the two masses, the mass of the material times the mass of the star that we are trying to figure out, divided by the square of the distance between those two. So in this case, the square of the distance is the square of the radius of the star because the material is exactly on the surface of the star. So the separation distance between the material and the star is the center-to-center distance between these two objects, and that is just the radius of the star. So since we know the gravitational force is the one that is providing the centripetal force on that material, we can equate these two terms to each other, and we get little m capital R omega squared equals g little m capital M over r squared. And immediately you see the little m will just cancel, so it doesn't matter. And we can determine the capital M, namely the mass of the star, to be r cubed omega squared over g. So let's put in the numbers. Capital R is 23 kilometers, so 23,000 meters cube. Omega is 1.5 rev per second, so let's turn that into radian per second by multiplying that with 2 pi, don't forget the square, divide by capital G with a value of 6.67 times 10 to the power minus 11, which will give you an answer of 1.62 times 10 to the power 25 kg for the mass of the star, and that solves the problem. Problem 2. A certain planet has a core of radius r and mass capital M. So the one that is shown in red is the core. The core is surrounded by an outer shell of inner radius r and outer radius 2r and mass 3m. So the one shown in yellow is the outer shell. Given that capital M has this much value and little r has that much value, find the gravitational acceleration of a body at points r and 4r from the center of the planet. So let's do part A. If the body is at points which is a distance little r from the center of the planet, it's somewhere there or there or there. Doesn't matter as long as the distance is little r. So let's assume that the body is right there. So the gravitational force on such a body is given by the mass of that body, little m, times the gravitational acceleration that that body experiences at that point. And this gravitational force is due only to mass in an inside sphere with that radius little r, namely all this mass. So we have to equate this weight of that body to gravitational attraction between that body and all this mass within that core. And that expression is given by Newton's law of gravitation. Capital G, little m, the mass of the core, which we know to be capital M, over little r squared. So the little m cancels, and you can calculate the gravitational acceleration as 6.67 times 10 to the power minus 11. So that is the value of capital G. Capital M is given by that expression, 3.5 times 10 to the power 20 over little r squared. Little r is given by that, so 5 times 10 to the power 4 squared. And that will be 9.34 meter per second squared. And that's the answer for part A. Now let's do part B. If the body is at a distance of 4r from the center of the planet, so let's say the body is here, and that distance is 4r. What is the gravitational acceleration of that body? So the same procedure works. We just have to equate the weight of that body at that distance to the gravitational force given by Newton's law of gravitation between the planet and that little mass. And that expression is given by the universal gravitational constant times the mass of that little body times the mass of the entire planet. The mass of the entire planet is given by 3m plus m. So that's going to be 4 capital M over the distance squared, so 4r squared. The little m goes away, and the gravitational acceleration at that point becomes capital G, 6.67 times 10 to the power minus 11, times 4. Capital M is given by 3.5 times 10 to the power 20. Divide by 16r squared, and little r is given by 5 times 10 to the power 4 squared, and that's going to give you a value of 2.33 meter per second squared. And that's the answer for part B, 2.33 meter per second squared. And that solves the problem. Problem 3. Three masses and their coordinates are shown below. So you have a 20 kg mass, 60 kg mass, and a 40 kg mass. So 20 kg mass is located at point 0.51. 60 kg mass is located at a coordinate of 0, minus 0.5. And the 40 kg mass is located at coordinate of -1, -1. What is the magnitude of the gravitational force on a 15 kg mass located at the origin due to these other three masses? So let's do one by one. Let's look at the 60 kg mass first. The force the 60 kg exerts on the 15 kg would be like that. It would attract the 15 kg towards the 60 kg in a downward direction. And that's given by capital G, the product of the two masses, 15 times 60. The distance between them is 0.5 meters, so 0.5 squared in the direction of minus j hat. Now let's look at the 20 kg. 20 kg would attract the 15 kg towards it in that direction, so that is the direction of the force. So let's calculate the magnitude. The magnitude is G times the product of the masses is 20 times 15. The distance between them is this diagonal distance, and that is given by 0.5 squared plus 1 squared. And that's it, because this is 1, this is 0.5, so that diagonal distance squared is just that. The force has x component and y component. X component is that way, y component is that way. So the x component is the magnitude times cosine of this angle. The cosine of that angle is 0.5 over the diagonal distance. The diagonal distance is the square root of 0.5 squared plus 1 squared. And it's in the direction of positive I hat. The y component is heading up, and the value of the y component is the magnitude times the sine of that angle, which is 1 over the diagonal distance, because this is 1, and the diagonal distance is again 0.5 squared plus 1 squared, j hat. Finally, the 40 kg object. The 40 kg would attract the 15 kg towards itself like that. So the magnitude of that attraction is capital G times 40 times 15 over that distance squared. And that is just, if this is 1, that is 1, so that has got to be square root 2. Square root 2 squared is just 2. The third force has an x component going that way and y component going downward. So let's do the x component first. So this is 1 unit and that is 1 unit, so that would make the angles 45 degrees. So the x component is the magnitude times cosine of 45, because this is 45 and that is 45, and that is just 1 over square root 2 minus I hat. Likewise, the j component, the y component, would be going downward, so cosine 45, 1 over square root 2 minus j hat. Grouping the i's with the i's and the j's with the j's, you will get the following form for the force vector on that 15 kg object. And it's given by minus 105 capital G I hat minus 3600 G J hat, and of course in the unit of newtons. Therefore, the magnitude of that force is given by G square root 105 squared plus 3600 squared in the units of newtons. And the answer is 2.40 times 10 to the power minus 7 newtons. And that solves the problem. Note, we have taken G to be 6.67 times 10 to the power minus 11. Thank you for watching.